So I've never actually used my tripod for these types of videos, mainly for other videography projects and even interviews. But I just had the idea today, like, man, why am I not doing the tripod? Sometimes now holding the camera, it's so shaky. So I feel like this will be good to have a more stable, um, consistent view while I'm talking or ranting or whatever, you know. And I did have kind of a cool topic I wanted to bring up, which is it has to do with the idea of being cheap. Because it's kind of something that's, teased. Unfortunately, TikTok culture, social media culture, I think has kind of polluted a lot of ideas and concepts, and everything has become like a hack or just like something you can do very quick to achieve something. And same thing with art. A lot of art has been kind of just hyper saturated, you know, with influencers and people that really just want the results. They don't care about the product that they're designing and creating, developing. They just want the, you know, end result of whatever comes with it, which is very frustrating. And so, on a similar topic, the idea of being cheap is something that is introduced to us at a young age, right? Being kind of under your means, living below the threshold of what could be considered like your high living in order to save, in order to maintain and retain your resources for a future day when you really might need them. So, a lot of people, yeah, they're taught by their parents, these patterns and habits that they can use and implement to help retain their resources, their finances. Now, here's where it can get a little bit tricky because I was somebody that was super, hyper cheap, especially through high school and college. And I was very good at managing my money through those years, unlike a lot of people that I knew. And there is a point, actually, okay, where being cheap actually has its drawbacks. And obviously, that's the case with anything, right? But specifically with being cheap, okay, what is the negative side of it? It's actually creating a scarcity mindset, okay? And scarcity mindsets are very, very difficult to get out of once you enter. When you feel like if you live, just in your means, that you will begin to lose, you start to feel like just living like a normal person, having an occasional meal out, you start to feel actually negative emotion associated with those things. That is that is actually a dangerous place to be because you begin to form a relationship between spending money and negative emotion, which shouldn't be the case for your needs. Water, food, clothing. These are things that you should take care of because you need them to just maintain and sustain your life. And being cheap on a hyper level can actually eliminate your ability to access those resources for yourself because you start to even view those needs as just material desires, which, in one way they are, but they are physical needs of the human body, and you can't transcend those, at least not permanently. So that's one thing you really need to be careful about. It's okay to be kind of a pack rat. It's okay to be very careful with how you spend, how you collect items. But my advice as somebody that used to be just pure cheapskate, like for reference, anytime my friends and I would hang out when I was in high school, I'd always bring a lunchbox with my own food. And I'd rarely ever go out to eat, and I'd just eat from my backpack or lunchbox. And there's nothing there's nothing wrong with that, but looking back, it is kind of funny because I probably did save a lot of money, but at the same time, it's like, did I really save as much as was worth those moments of probably indulging a little bit? I don't know. It's a good question. So, you gotta find a balance. Obviously, you don't want to go crazy and never spend a single cent, because obviously, there's no joy in that. There's no joy in just collecting for the sake of collecting, retaining for the sake of retaining. There has to be some pleasure in some part of it. And if you enjoy being on a budget and enjoy kind of calculating your resources carefully, then more power to you. But I would say just never let those desires supersede your natural biological desires to acquire food, water, shelter, even, to spend time with loved ones occasionally, because those those memories you can gain, with those people, they're not limitless, so sometimes it requires to spend a little bit of money, and sometimes it requires to kind of go a little bit into the red. But if you have, a good feeling about what you're doing, and, you're able to justify it, rationalize it, then it doesn't feel like spending at the end of the day, because you feel like you're still gaining. And so as long as you feel like you're still gaining something at the end of the day, then even spending doesn't have to be a loss. So keep that in mind, especially if you're a younger person, college age, even young adult. We all have to deal with money. We all have to deal with purchases, right? But it doesn't have to be, some sort of hyper, mega emphasis for your life. It can be something that's just, a resource that comes and goes, is fluid, and sometimes you can't hold on to it because that's just the nature of money. So that's all I got for today. Sorry, my throat was kind of bothering me, so kind of crusty on the voice, but hopefully you kind of vibed with the conversation. And yeah, if you ever have any thoughts, you can always put those in the comments, or any ideas likewise. So yeah, hope you have a good night, and take care. So peace.